Namaste, Prashanti here from Namaste Rishikesh, and today we're here at Dev Sanskriti University, which is just a few kilometers from Rishikesh and near Haridwar. Today we're here with Professor Yatindra ji, who's teaching here at the university, and he's been here for 10 years teaching Tantra and Yoga philosophy, as well as some other subjects. So Namaste, Yatindra ji. So today here we'll talk about Tantra and Yoga and what it means. And can you tell us a little bit about what is Tantra and what is the relationship between Tantra and Yoga?
Actually, likewise the other philosophical streams or practical streams, Tantra is one of the main philosophy and practice of Hindu practices or Hindu realism. So now if we see that the meaning of Tantra we derived from the root word tan, which means the extension. So if we extend something, it comes from the root word tan. So Tantra is also we usually applied for the scriptures in which we see the extension of consciousness. How we can elevate the level of consciousness, how we can elevate the level of our livelihood, how can we elevate the level of our spiritual wisdom. So all these techniques, all these philosophical aspects are written in our tantric scriptures. So mainly Tantra is based on the rituals and philosophy, especially for upbringing or elevation of the energy in us, or especially consciousness in us.
Okay, so how does Tantra relate to Yoga?
So if we see now in these days, we are seeing that Hatha Yoga is totally separated from the Tantra. But in the beginning, if we go back to the historical background of Hatha Yogic streams, to which we are saying now in these days, asanas, pranayamas, or different kinds of yogic postures, practices, all these are were the part of Tantric wisdom, Tantric philosophy or rituals. So in the beginning of 11th century or 12th century, we had two great masters, Matsyendranath and Gorakhnath. They actually separated the yogic stream from tantric schools or philosophy or practices. So since from that those days, we are seeing the Hatha Yogic lineage differently from the tantric practices. So that's why we can say that Tantra has a very broad area, and in that broad area we are seeing that some practical aspects are to them we can say yogic aspects. So those yogic aspects we are learning separately from Tantra. Otherwise, yoga is the essential part of Tantra. Otherwise, we cannot make a separation between Tantra and Yoga. If Tantra has great philosophy, practical approaches, rituals, totally different from Yoga, but in the same time, Tantra has a very great value about yogic practices. Pranayama is there, dhyana practices are there, and so many asanas practices are there in the tantric text we can see. So that's why there is means you cannot say that Yoga cannot live without Tantra and Tantra cannot live without Yoga. So there is a mutual relation between them.
So you can say that Yoga is a part of Tantra.
Yoga is the part of Tantra. Even so many tantric texts, they depict different kinds of yogic practices. Some texts depicts or emphasis on Chaturanga Yoga, fourfold yoga. Some depicts about Ashtanga Yoga, eightfold yoga. And some depicts very mystical and occult practices of yoga. Those are nowhere described in our yogic texts. Now in these days we know about only few texts of yoga, as for example we know about Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we know about Hat Pradipika, Hat Ratnavali, Gherint Samhita. All these texts we are very familiar about them. And we are following the practical approaches, philosophical approaches of all these texts. But unfortunately, there are some hidden approaches of yoga which are best written in our tantric scriptures.
Okay, now what can you say about the fact that in the West, Tantra is mostly associated with tantric sex, and is that a big part of Tantra, and what is your opinion about this?
Actually, this is the corrupted meaning. totally corrupted meaning that Tantra is emphasizing or Tantra is advocating sex. Actually, the term which is used in the tantric text, especially for sex, they are implying or they are translating Maithun. So actually, Maithun doesn't mean about sex. Maithun means the combination of two energies. One is called lower energy in our body, and another one is higher energy. And we can say the lower energy source and high energy source. By the help of some yogic practices, anyhow, by the grace of Guru and by our past impressions, if we cultivate that energy, if we activate that energy, that lower energy, and bring up to the level of higher energy, so the combination of these two energies is simply called as Maithun, not sex. So that's why in the Western culture and Western people, they made a very different interpretation just after getting the direct worldly meaning of term Maithun, which is implied in the tantric text. So this is the drawback with us, that the knower of the Tantra, those know everything about the Tantra, practitioner of the Tantra, they don't know English. So they are not translating the proper translation or proper meaning of the tantric words or technical words there in the text. And in the same way, those are advocating something from the Tantra, they don't know about the tantric wisdom. They even they don't know about the ritualistic pattern in the Tantra. So that's why they are misinterpreting the tantric wisdom, the rituals and philosophy of our culture.
Okay, now how old do you think is tantric tradition, and what are the tantric texts? How old are they?
Actually, what I have studied about Tantra, so if you go back to the historical background, so Tantra just started from the beginning of the civilization. So we have some excavated material from the Indus Valley civilization, and on the basis of Indus Valley civilization, we can say that there are some rare facts and we can say some evidences are there. They prove that there were the presence of Tantra at that time, and that's why tantric material was very profound there. In the Indus Valley civilization. So from the beginning of the civilization of the world, we are seeing the traces, we are seeing the residuals of Tantra there in the beginning of the civilization.
Okay, and within Tantra, there's also different types and different directions that one can study. What are some major definitions and directions in the tantric path?
Actually, now in these days, as at present knowledge, we cannot say that we can combine them at one place. There are different streams according to their exponents, according to their founders of philosophy. So they derived different methods of one Tantra. So Tantra was only one, which came just from the Vedic scriptures, just came from the Vedic practices. And now, for the sake of people, for the understanding of different capabilities of people, seeing after their perception level or capability level, the founders have divided them according to their perceivance, according to their capability of understanding. So they given the knowledge of Tantra in different shapes. What they have seen at that time in the people of that age. So in this way, we have a variety of Tantras. As for example, if we go into the Shaivite Tantras, those advocating that Shiva is the supreme wisdom, or Shiva in the form of supreme principle there. So they have also their different sub-streams. In their sub-streams, we have Kashmir Shaiva, those nourished and flourished in the valley of Kashmir. In the same way, Tamil Nadu, in the southmost region of the India, we have Shaiva Gamas based on the dualistic philosophy of the Tantras. Veer Shaiva nourished in the Karnataka region. In the same way, there are Raseshwara Tantra, Raseshwara Shaiva, there are Veer Shaiva, Shaiva Gamas. There are so many schools. Even in the Tantra, Nakulish, Pashupata. So even in the Shaivite system. If we go into the other systems as Vaishnavite or Shaktism, so we will see different sub-streams there. So on the basis of the capability, on the basis of the understanding of the level of the pupil or aspirants at that time, they developed different philosophy and ritualistic patterns according to that time.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, what do you think is the difference between an aspirant of a tantric path versus a yoga path, or is there a difference? And how does one pick a path, and what, like, how to even, put your mind around it, where to start?
Actually, as I said in the beginning, that there is no difference between tantra and yoga. Tantra is the part of yoga. Yoga is the part of tantra. So we cannot make any separation between them. But we can say that if we are saying about the aspirants, so aspirants are same in the yogic practices, and also the qualification is same for the aspirants. But if we go into the more advanced techniques of tantra, so we need some more qualification of an aspirant, because for that an aspirant should be very fixed his mind, because if he have not fixed mind, if he have not a good mind or good stable mind, so he cannot understand the advanced or mystical or hidden meanings of the tantric rituals. So for example, you can say in the beginning of Hat Pradipika, it is the statement that Kevalam Rajyogaya Hata Vidyopadishyate, only for the cultivation or only for the knowledge of Raj Yoga, especially which we can say Patanjali Yoga, especially for the Patanjali Yoga, we are defining here Hatha Yogic practices. So all those Hatha Yogic practices are especially for Raj Yoga. The purpose is Raj Yoga. Now in the same way, all the Raj Yogic and Hatha Yogic practices are especially for the advanced practices of Tantra. So this is the step-by-step understanding about the tantric knowledge. So before going into the tantra, I recommend, means not only I, but also scriptures recommend that after purifying your mind, after making stable your mind, you can approach the more higher tantric practices. Otherwise, if you directly approach them, you will fall in depravity. You will fall in wrong direction.
Okay, so what are the main qualifications, like you said, to be an aspirant
of the tantra? So especially for an aspirant of tantra, you must choose your guru first. And now in these days we are seeing that guru is nowhere, and we are searching, but our text says that there is no no statement in our scriptures that they are saying just find your guru outside. They are saying that you can find your guru inside you. You just have to evoke, you just have to elevate your level. And if you elevate, if you elevate your level, you can find your guru in your inside. So mostly tantric practices are self-oriented. You have to do practices by yourself, by your own understanding. But in the same time, you must be aware about what you are doing here. Otherwise, we will fall into dangerous things. So that's why we always recommend, if you choose a guru, if you find a guru, it's okay. It means nice to go more into the tantric practices. But if you have no guru, you have desire, you have pure desire, you have pure thirst for the tantric knowledge. So you will definitely get a direction from your inner master. So your inner master will definitely give you a direction in the tantric practices. And the main goal of tantric practices is just the same as in yoga. We are seeing that the union of our lower self to the higher self. So in the same way, in the tantric practices, the main aim is not the rituals. These all rituals are just making our concentration more condensed. And if we get that concentration level, so it means that we fulfilled the goal, and there is no necessity to do the rituals at outside. You can do all those rituals inside, because your concentration level is now very rich. So the main goal is to, because the main tantric principle is Devo Bhutva Yajet Devan, means you first have to become divine, then you can worship divinity. Otherwise, without becoming a divine personality, without becoming a god-like, you cannot appraise God, you cannot pray to God. So this is the main principle of tantric scriptures.
Oh, thank you. That is very interesting message. Actually, I like that. So you have to elevate yourself. And another question probably would be, how do we cultivate that inner guru and that inner wisdom? Is there any practical advice you can give to people that are just starting on any path of self, realization, whether it's Tantra yoga or something like that? What do we do in our daily life, I guess, to kind of connect with that inner wisdom?
Yeah, we can do so many tantric practices we can do, but not with wine, not with sex, not with these things, because before that we need more understanding about the tantric practices. And for that understanding, if we just cultivate, because our scripture says, if you have bhakti, if you have devotion, if you have surrenderness, so all these qualities are needed there in the tantric practices. If you are fearless, if you are egoless, you have low level of ego. We cannot say egoless, but we can say low level of ego. So if you have low level of ego, if you are fearless, you can do anything in the tantric practices. So for that, you need to first understand the tantric scriptures. Means scripture knowledge is just for giving you more understanding, more depth into the rituals. Why we are giving here rituals? Rituals are just making your understanding more rich. So if we see the tantric text, so we will see that they are just saying that what is in our nature is we are directing that nature, we are giving direction to that nature through our tantric rituals. For example, I can introduce one of the techniques here, that we worship Kali. Kali is very terrifying goddess. Means now after seeing the vision of Kali, you can get some glimpses. Very terrifying nature. But she never be terrifying for us. If we are the disciples, if we are the son, if we are believing that we are the son and daughter of Kali, so how mother become terrifying for her daughter or sons? So if we see the direction, so Kali is terrifying, just making the anger. She gives the direction to the anger in us. So actually, we have anger, we have lust, we have fear, we have so many lower qualities. But Tantra says we cannot get rid from those qualities because they already makes the essence of our personality. So if we minus them, it means that we totally minus our personality. It means we are no existence. There is no existence. So Tantra says that you should live with them and give them direction. Don't angry more. So if we have anger, so give anger some directions. So if you are practicing tantric practices, so tantric practices are, so now we are seeing now in these days that people are misunderstanding the concepts of tantric rituals, because mostly in the tantric rituals advocates that what you are in your existence, what you are in your personality. So just give direction to your lower habits. So lower habits, we can say the anger in us, the fear in us, the lust in us, the desires in us, the sexual desires in us. So many things are making our personality. So Tantra says that you cannot minus these things from your personality. If you minus these things from your personality, it means that your personality never exists. Means nowhere your personality exists. It means you are actually all these things are not the lower according to Tantra. Tantra says that if you give direction to your desires, good direction, by the help of some practices, some spiritual practices, those are giving describing in our tantric text. So through that you can make your personality more rich. You can make more advancement in your personality. So that's why they are advocating about use of wine. So use of wine is not directly given there in the form of some liquor. So use of wine is different thing, because Kularana Tantra, one of the main texts of the Kula rituals in the Tantra text, it advocates that Madira Brahma Ga Prokta, Means the wine is very useful for the bringing you up to the knowledge of Supreme. So you can get the knowledge of Supreme by the help of wine. But in the same way, Madhura is also called as Chitta Shodhani. Chitta Shodhani means now for the purification of your chitta, mind stuff. But both these things are not happening now in these days, because you can see that so many people are alcoholic. So all those alcoholic peoples, we cannot say they are purifying anyhow. They are purifying their mind stuff, and by the help of wine, they are also getting some higher knowledge. So this is the statement given in the text, but on the basis of this statement, we cannot say that the text is directly advocating wine. Text is advocating Madhura. So Madhura doesn't mean wine. Madhura means which gives you intoxication, and that intoxication you can also get at the stage, in the stage of your blissful stage, in your meditation stage.
Oh, okay, so that it's not directly wine, so it was a misinterpretation of the
misinterpretation. And in the same way, yes, there are some rituals in our tantric text, in our tantric tradition, where we use wine, but we use wine in different way. Means in general way, you are using wine for just relaxing, just making you cool down, just getting rid from your stressful condition, and after that what happen? You become very mad. Your body become intoxicated. You are not getting the intoxication stage. Intoxication stage remain at that time when you are in wine condition, but after that you become totally intoxicated, your body become intoxicated. And Tantra advocates that use that wine, but use that wine with some great awareness, because wine is not only outside, wine is also inside you, and that wine is always flowing down from your top of the head in your subtle body, and you are not aware about that. But if you get any awareness about that, so you can cling, you can check, you can drink that wine, and after drinking that wine, you will definitely get that God intoxicated state, not in the normal intoxicated state. You will get that perfection. So in some rituals, we see the use of wine. But before going into those rituals, you need perfect direction. That's why Tantra is kept secret, because of seeing the nature of Tantra, because so many general things are there. So many lower things are there, depicted there, and if lower peoples use those things, so they will go into more lower realms. So that's why, seeing the nature of the people, they said that Tantra is very secret. Tantra is only for the initiated peoples, and Tantra can be, you can get initiation from a perfect master. You can, before going to be catch a perfect master, you must be qualified.
Thank you so much for sharing this information. I think it was very helpful, and it was very, profound introduction. So if we will follow with more discussions on Tantra and Yoga, and we'll see Yatindra ji in the future for more spiritual talks. You can find him in Dev Sanskriti University or on his Facebook page. Also, you can see the comments in our YouTube channel and Facebook. You can also post your questions. So the website is namaste.rishikesh.com, and thank you so much for watching, and namaste.